Well, hello there, and a very warm welcome to you. We are previewing week 2 of the 2026 FEI World Championships. Amy Parks here with you in the In-Out studio. We're bringing you all of the in-depth analysis and insights from this World Championships. There's so much to come.
Behind every victory and before every cheer, there is a story waiting to be told. It's about all the chapters written away from the spotlight, where partnerships are forged in silence and teamwork drives one shared journey. And now, a new chapter begins.
Presented by Hetzel Horses.
Well, the excellence of equestrian sport that is coming your way is something to behold. To analyse the expectations for the jumping and the other disciplines, joining me in the studio is Equestrian's very own Dermot Byrne. Derm, welcome.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy. A big week, a week we've waited for a long time. If you think of all of the shows we've done over the last probably year, there's been some reference made to how this might play out at Aachen in 2026. Yeah. Finally, we're going to get to see those form lines play through and how this unfolds. Certainly are. We've been ringing that bell every time we talk about show jumping, and we reference this World Championships, of course, that we go ding, 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 because such is the grandeur, the expectation that is placed upon these athletes, all working towards this goal. It comes but once every 4 years, as we say, Dee. We are going to be kicking off the jumping. We're going to dig into that and what it's possibly going to look like over the course of the week. Of course, a couple of days of competition to expect from our athlete, but it all starts with the speed class, and Rosie Russell is going to explain how that works.
This is where the show jumping World Championships begins. The speed competition is the first championship class, and every rider starts here. But the fastest round doesn't always win. In this competition, speed only matters if you can keep the jumps, we call them fences, standing. All team and individual riders compete together, and the result counts towards both championships. The aim is simple: jump clear, keep moving forward, and avoid costly mistakes. The clock starts as soon as the rider crosses the start line and stops when they finish the course. But a fast time alone is not enough. Every fence that falls and every mistake adds penalties, which are converted into additional time. Every fence that falls adds 4 seconds to their time. A refusal that requires a fence to be rebuilt adds 6 seconds. While more serious mistakes can lead to elimination. Once every rider has jumped, those times are converted into championship penalties. The rider with the fastest adjusted time starts the championship on 0 penalties. Everyone receives penalties based on how far behind the leader they are. That's why the leaderboard can change in an instant. A rider who looks quickest around the course can suddenly drop down the rankings after one fence falls. Meanwhile, a slightly slower but clear round can move a rider into a strong championship position. This competition sets the foundation for the rest of the week. The result carries forward into the next rounds, so riders are not just trying to win today, they're trying to build the best possible position for the championship ahead. But one mistake does not end a medal dream. Every penalty collected here is something riders will carry with them for the rest of the competition. So keep an eye on who stays clear and who leaves this first round in the strongest position to challenge for a world title. Because in jumping, championships are often built from the very first fence.
That's right, and individual glory is set for the taking for these athletes, but also the glory, the grandeur, the wonder of being able to say, I represented my country, I played as part of a team, and I was able to do the incredible. Especially utmost. Here, especially in Aachen. There feels something very special, looking back through the records, looking back to
I think 2006, as I was looking at the day one leaders, you're looking back, 2006, it was Jos Lancic back then. And, Jos, of course, in the intervening 20 years has played such a major role in the sport, and the 20 before that as well. There feels, and we've referenced it across the whole championships, there feels something very special about Aachen generally. So everyone who's here, no matter whether you're at the very sharp end of winning this or not, I think there's a little bit of an extra special touch, Amy.
Yeah, absolutely. That is correct. We want to dig into some of the analysis now, Dee, and I think talking about the teams is probably a really good place to start because we see these athletes, especially in the jumping, we have a big focus on it here in our studio. We see them week in, week out competing as themselves, but now they come together to compete for their nations, and there's something really special about it.
Really interesting dynamic because, of course, we do see it, as you say, where you have the team competition. And the individual competition baked into the team in that the scores will count for both, of course, as Rosie was saying. Amy, there are early team predictions.
Yeah.
We've been here before, but Ireland are leading. I mean, I'm not going to say who the exact team are. I can't call the exact team, but in terms of where the longer list and the selected riders and horses are, I mean, when you're sending in Cian O'Connor, Chatalinu, James Kang Cruz with Shane Sweetenham, Dennis Lynch, Vista Grand, Dara Kenny, of course, with Eddie Bluke, Bertram Allen with Young, Conquest Arrigo. I played with this. I looked at it because all of them are strong. But the Irish on data are favourites. I mean, you'll be surprised to see Great Britain quite low. I mean, maybe you're looking at Scott Brash has Hello Mango here. If you're going back a little bit earlier in the year, you would have thought maybe it could have been Foley when you were looking at those early results in Doha. US mid-division, I mean, big moment there where we saw not just Kent Farrington choosing not to compete here at Aachen with his superstar Greya, but also, of course, losing Marlon Little and La Contessa, a horse that had been in unbelievable form. They, of course, have a chance, but you can see they would have on data been a little bit higher.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to interrupt you and say, Dee, that we've said this before. We have said this before because we've talked about it. Well, you've talked about it. Equi Ratings has talked about it at numerous championships where we have said, Ireland had a lot of heat coming into these, Dee, a lot of heat.
You're right. And look, we're talking about the major championships at the moment in terms of the Olympics and the Worlds. We haven't come home with a team medal at those championships, which I think is an anomaly given the success of this team, given the strength of this team, and as a country in terms of, so many of the horses jumping across the whole competition, across every team, will have touched off Ireland at some point. It is an anomaly. We went very big on Ireland from a data point of view going into Paris. There is not much, as we know, in jumping between the very top teams. Germany have an incredible team here. The Belgians, the European champions, they have an incredible team here. But right now, on numbers, Ireland are a little bit ahead, and the excitement back home is building, very much so.
That is correct. I know. Just try and keep it down over there on the Emerald Isle. We want to talk about day one because that is obviously in our immediate thoughts. It is the speed. As you say, it sets things up, as Rosie pointed out there, explaining how this class will work. Dee, tell us how important it is to the rest of the week's competition then in the jumping.
The reason I wanted to focus on day one, not just because it's the first thing we'll see, but also because we talk a lot about this in jumping, particularly because of the influence of the World Cup and the World Cup finals. So at World Cup finals, where you do have similar kind of cumulative point scoring over the course of a number of rounds of competition, day one is everything. I think we're going back almost 6 World Cup finals now since we saw a day one winner or a day one leader not pull through to be the final champion. It is not the same here at the World Championships. Take a look at this screen now. You can see last time out in Herning, King Edward and Henrik von Eckermann, they came from 5th. I mentioned Jos Lancic 20 years ago here at the same venue. He came from 40th position. It's not, it's not of a different time going back to 2018 in Tryon. You can see Simone coming from outside the top 20. So day one leaders, of course, in cumulative points, of course you want to be as low as you can. you don't need to lead in the same way as I think you need to lead the World Cup as it's been playing out of late.
Yeah, indeed. And we're just taking a look at some facts and also just how things are going to play for the jumping. Obviously, we've seen a week of competition, the dressage, the eventing going on, as well as the vaulting. Aachen changes just in terms of its atmosphere, not in terms of the arena where we're going to see this jumping taking place, though. Obviously, we know that 53 nations will come forward and be represented in the jumping, and 31 of those will field a team in that team competition that we were talking about. And this is an amazing fact as well. Athletes participating for the first time, 101 of the athletes we are seeing are coming forward for the first time to a championships, and 164 of the horses there are the first timers.
Yeah, it really points though to that, that 4 year, the 4 year gap in between. You're often looking at horses between probably 10 and 14 who are we do see some of the superstars go on, we do see some of the superstars emerge early, but really they have one major shot at this, sometimes two if they can fall in the right age bracket of maybe 9 and 13, something like that.
And we were talking about horses, we were just looking at rider ages there. Jimmy Gullickson at 66 years old at the World Championships, getting a run. Go on, Jimmy, you good thing. So super stoked to be seeing him out there as well. Another gentleman we're really excited about seeing, this is someone who is just such an incredible mind when it comes to show jumping, and that's Frank Rothenberger. He is our course designer. He and his mega team are putting together the courses over the course of the week. There he is there. This is a super mind when it comes to the sport of show jumping.
Again, this concept that we've talked about for so long about kind of jumping coming home to Aachen, you do have some very special venues around the world, but when you talk about jumping in Aachen, I mean, this is the name that is so synonymous with those really big Nations Cup moments, those Sunday afternoons in the Grand Prix where you feel the energy, the excitement. We remember the winners, we remember the jump offs. He's very giving of his time. He talks very openly about what he expects in a round 1 in Aachen, in a round 2. We all feel like we know his courses. We don't, because he always springs a surprise. And as you say, an incredible mind. Something, again, I can't put words on it, but something very intangible and special about Frank Rothenberg, 2026, Aachen, and a whole 4 or 5 days now of watching these guys take on his courses.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to be something else. We want to run you quickly through the schedule then, what to expect in week 2, because there's plenty to watch. This is jumping. So the expectation for Wednesday, goodness knows what day that is. I couldn't even tell you what number day we're up to by Wednesday. 9:30 a.m. German time, so that's European time. That is when we see the first competition taking place in the jumping. So that is 9:30 on Wednesday morning. And then at 9 a.m. on Thursday, we see the second competition taking place. So early mornings for you if you're in this part of the world. Plenty to watch. On Friday, it's in the evening. In the evening on the Friday, so a big spectacle. Expect a huge crowd, I would say there, Dee. 10 to 7 p.m. European. That is the second competition, round 2, so a big one.
Your team medals are coming in at this point, so even your individual medals, by the time we get to Sunday, they will be taking into account the scores accumulated, from each day, from Wednesday on. But Friday night, very special. That's when we're going to see those teams coming in.
Yeah, and you saw the rest of those roll through there, so you'll know what to expect. We hope you were taking notes. Plenty coming your way, and a man who will be covering a lot of the sport for us in the In-Out studio. He's part of our team of reporters on the ground in Aachen, is John Kyle.
We're just over the halfway point of the Aachen World Championships, and incredible to believe that we've already put those major sports behind us. Vaulting, of course, the dressage with those incredible nights of sport, including Lottie Fry's win, under lights in the freestyle to music, and then the eventing, running through that incredible cross-country course, and then the crucible of jumping on the final day in the main stadium. But now we look forward here at Aachen. Indeed, even our sponsor changes for the In-Out as we go into week 2, and 3 more incredible sports. Over in Stadium 3, it is going to be all about the para dressage. Those 5 grades coming forward, riding their team tests, their tests, and then on to the freestyle. Medals to be awarded. We've got Paralympic champions, we've got reigning world champions coming, all playing for the ultimate glory here at Aachen. Then, of course, almost mirroring the eventing, we've got the 4-in-hand driving. This is the absolute acme of this particular sport. It's a sport that comes here every year to Aachen, so once again, it's one they know absolutely how to put on to the highest level here at the Zurs. Boyd Excel, who can look beyond him? But could it be Germany taking the team title there, as they have so frequently before? Challenging on both sides, individual and team, has got to be some of the drivers from just across the border in the Netherlands. And then the highlight, the landmark moment of the week, is going to be the show jumping. And what a filter we put them through. 180 plus competitors will start in the Table C and then go through those 2 days of team jumping. As ever, the second night of team jumping here at Aachen will be under lights, so we'll have that wonderful atmosphere again, all leading towards that incredible individual final here on Sunday, which will be the last moments of this 6-discipline strong 2-week World Championships. We hope you're going to be with us for every moment of it on FEI TV and our previews and reviews here on In Out, with the stories behind the sport, because that's what we're going to bring you. It is going to be, of course, some of the stars, some of those famous names, but we hope to dig into it and find you 1 or 2 golden nuggets buried amongst the entry field and bring you their stories too.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for John Kyle at Aachen, he'll be out there hunting for golden nuggets. For nuggets he's looking for. You heard it here first. Dee, we want to get stuck into this analysis because I'm getting excited now. Jumping is our bread and butter here at the In Out studio. We get excited. We've been building to this World Championships, ding, 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 throughout the course of the year. We've been thinking about it, forefront of our mind. We want to start with... He's one of our favourites. He's the people's prince of show jumping, Dee, and we cannot deny the power of the man we're going to talk about now.
You're absolutely right. We're going to turn to Richard Vogel and United Touch, because there's no doubt, hometown hero. When you look at dressage, we've come off the back of Isabel Wirth, eventing Michael Young, and Richard Vogel on home soil, an Aachen winner, of course. And almost a double Aachen winner if you go back not too long ago to the final fence in the jump off. United Touch and Richard have just dominated really for the last, I would say 18 months, possibly a little bit longer. They're coming in as the European champions off the back of those big performances we saw in Spain. I am willing to go against them. And the reason for me is the format. Where we have seen United Touch really dominate is when they hit jump-offs. You know, out of 5-star 160 jump-offs, United Touch has not been beaten when they have jumped clear, that big ground speed. We're going to see it on Wednesday, the ground speed. However, will they jump enough clears? I'm looking for a horse that has form. I'm looking for a horse that can go consistently through the competition. I think I found one. I think they're coming in a little bit under the radar. There's probably 4 or 5 of them. But I am going with the hometown angle, and I am going for consistency. Yeah,
and we agree on this one.
We agree on a few, but I think so. I just feel like Sophie Hinners with Iron Dame Sinclair has come in a little bit under the radar. You know, they've never actually had a rail 5-star 160 here at Aachen from their 5 rounds. You know, 2026 and 2025. In both the Grand Prix and then of course in the Turkish Airlines as well. It isn't only that. I'm going to show you the recent form over the last 12 months, and Iron Dame Sinclair is very much in there. I bring up, of course, when you put this many of the top combinations in the world together, picking 2, Vogel and Hinners, feels silly. I wanted to pitch it as both will be really big talking points because of the home nation. But I think Vogel will hoover up so many more headlines as an Aachen champion, as a European champion, whereas I think Iron Dame Sinclair might be more suited to this format. We do see United Touch rails outside of jump-offs. It's far from a perfect record. So when you see the form now of the horses arriving in, I think some of these are arriving, would it be right to say under the radar? I don't think any of them, because of the form that you see on screen here, over the last 12, like in 2026 at 5-star 160. I don't think any of them are under the radar, but the format is going to suit horses that can continually add clears, and none of these are slow. We've seen the James Caan Cruise win with Shane Sweetenham. This horse is going to be massively suited to this format, and if Ireland are going to pull through on that favouritism, James Caan Cruise and Shane Sweetenham will have a huge say in it. The European champions, the team champions, the Belgians, impressive on Catenay for Thibaut Spitz, casual DV for Pietro de Vos. You know, you're backing that up as well for the Belgians with Portobello van der Fruchthof. They are really right there. But from an individual point of view, both of those on screen. Look at those clear rates in 2026. Nina Malvé, Dynasty de Beaufort, probably one of the names, one of the emerging stars of the sport. What a moment it would be for Nina and Dynasty to pull through here in Aachen. They are suited to the format. That's the piece I would go back to again and again and again. There have been moments earlier in the year where we focused on Greya. There have been moments earlier in the year where we focused on United Touch and Richard. This is going to be speed, but you don't need to be first. Then you've got to be consistently clear all the way. James Caan Cruise, Nina Malvé, the Belgians, Impress, Yvonne Catenay, Casual, and of course Ben Mayer and Point Break. They're all set up for success here. You could throw them up in the air, pick one out. Personally, I'm going Ireland. I'm going James Caan Cruise and Shane Sweetenham. But that is pure bias kicking in because as you see, it could be any of 4 or 5. But they're the ones I'm going in on, slightly ahead of the People's Prince in Vogel and United Touch.
Yeah, okay, big call. And I really think there is just, like you say, it is a smorgasbord of choice there because there are so many fantastic stories, so many good numbers, so much form coming into this competition. So much to expect, Dee. It'll be absolute scenes at Team Equa Ratings as this goes on. Scenes. So much to come our way. So much to come our way in the sport coming out of these 2026 World Championships. Of course, all on FEI TV and Clip My Horse TV throughout the course of week 2. The first day is Wednesday. That is the schedule there for you. The Para Dressage kicking off at 8:30 a.m. and this first competition in the jumping, that is at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday. So make sure you are rocking and rolling and ready to watch because it all starts early doors on Wednesday. And we will, of course, be here at 7 p.m. on Wednesday with our live show to bring you a recap of what has gone on the first day of week 2 and, of course, dig into what's been going on in that jumping because that is looking super, super exciting. Dee, thank you so much for being with us throughout the course of all of this. You've managed yourself beautifully. I thought we were going to lose you like a helium balloon that a 5-year-old let go of.
Yeah, there's a bit to go. There's a bit to go.
There's a bit to go. Hang on tight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be with you through it all until we see you next time. Take care.
The In-Out Studio Show is brought to you by Hetzel Horses. From a young horse to one of the top athletes.
He's up and over, he's got goals! 13.
Against the clock, it really didn't matter. Mickey, defended Kentucky.
No scriptwriter could have ever written a better story.